On this episode of Best Comics of the Year, we're going to be talking about X-Men Battle of the Atom. It'll be a spoiler-free sampler platter. X-Men Battle of the Atom, in a nutshell, is a multi-level time travel drama. Now, in 2012, during the events of AVX, Cyclops, while possessed with the Phoenix Force, kills Professor X and by proxy Xavier's dream. Now hated by most members of the X-Men, Cyclops is declared a dangerous mutant terrorist by the government and forms his own rogue splinter team of X-Men. And now there are two factions, the Xavier School for Mutants led by Cyclops and the Jean Grey School for Higher Learning led by Wolverine, both of them competing for the new generation of mutant students popping up all over the planet. Beast, upset by Cyclops' mutant revolution, brings the original first class of X-Men from the 60s forward in time to the present-day Jean Grey School in an effort to shock Cyclops out of his global mutant terrorist ways by reminding him of his former self and of why the X-Men originally came together under Xavier's dream of peaceful coexistence with humans. Failing to sway Cyclops, the Jean Grey School attempts to send the original team back to their own time. However, the original team refuses to leave the present, having discovered too much about the future. They decide to stay and help make the modern world a better place. And this is where the events of Battle of the Atom begin. A group of mysterious X-Men from the future travel to the present Jean Grey School to force the original X-Men back to the 60s because allowing them to stay in the present will cause some supposed cataclysmic event in the future. However, there is more than meets the eye to these future X-Men, and the original X-Men still refuse to go back in time, which results in an all-out conflict for the entire X family, past, present, and future. Boom! So today, we're gonna have Captain Kirk and Amy Dallin join me in trying to explain to you the awesomeness that is X-Men Battle of the Atom, the big X-Men event that happened this year. And if you're new to the show and you're an X-Men noobler, I feel like you should start with our AVX review from 2012 right here. You can click it right now. Check it out, because that will set everything up for you for Battle of the Atom.
Here are the basic facts. X-Men Battle of the Atom was a 10-part series that crossed together 4 different ongoing X-Men books, but you can find it now or very soon in a collected edition all in one place. That, of course, means that it was also a collaboration between a bunch of different writers and artists, which is part of what makes it amazing that it actually worked and came out great.
This is why you're supposed to read Battle of the Atom. It's one of those big X-Men stories that reminds you why you read the X-Men. Big battles, amazing relationships, huge ideas, everything's exploding, everything's totally crazy. This is X-Men.
This story is huge and very significant for X-Men continuity. It is a game changer. It is changing all sorts of things. I love in this story that the villain is the X-Men themselves. You know, the X-Men are fighting among themselves and they're their own worst enemies. And that's what makes Battle of the Atom so great.
And yes, this is a huge game changer, but let's not forget the fact that Scott and Logan still don't like each other. They in fact hate each other. They almost have like this sibling rivalry thing going on, and I really like the fact that this series still drives that home. It's okay that not everything changed in this series.
So I think I would say the other significant thing about this series is just how crazy fun it is. I mean, you get through AVX, I really liked a lot, but it's kind of grueling. It's a lot of bad stuff, and it goes on, and it's exhausting. And no matter how completely insane things got with different time-traveling teams and complications and plot twists in Battle of the Atom, it never stopped being incredibly fun.
One of my absolute favorite moments from this comic is when future Quentin Quire meets up with present-day Quentin Quire in the hallways of the Jean Grey School. And the present-day one is like, I've got so many questions. And the future one's like, I got time for one. And then the present one is like, when do I get out of this fucking school? And then the future one just starts laughing at him like it's some big fucking joke because he never gets out of the school because the Jean Grey School is Quentin Quire and he's not going anywhere.
Unexpected happy moments for me. Deadpool, usually not my favorite character, but evil Brotherhood Deadpool had some really great moments. He's fighting Psylocke, and he's also flirting with her at the same time he's fighting her. That was really cool.
Another one of my favorite parts is where Wolverine learns of his Mystique son named Reyes, who's a total fucking asshole, just like Dakin, and he vows to never have sex again. Because all of his progeny are fucking bummers, like every single one of them. And I'm with him, like stop having children, okay?
I can't be the only one that thinks Wolverine should not have kids, right?
Since we all have a character who weirdly grew on us during this series, I think for me it might actually be Cyclops. Because I've been so mad at our Cyclops for years now. And, you know, I like Cyclops from the past, but I think I liked what he represented more than I was really responding to him as a person. And this series just made me kind of fall in love with him and to a certain extent both of them, because grown-up Cyclops handled things kind of the way I wanted him to, and I'm kind of starting to forget why I'm so mad at him, which is a weird feeling, but fantastic evidence of how they've written these characters to make all of them compelling.
Cyclops is a dick. Okay, this fundamentally talks. Oh, let's just talk about this. Cyclops just keeps screwing people over, going for the wrong person, is just an all-around bad decision-making jerk who needs a woman in his life to tell him what to do. And you chicks are the ones that are always like, oh, Scott! No matter every dumb, stupid thing he does.
What did Amy say? Did Amy say that
Right.
hot and obedient?
I said apparently that's what you did.
That's a reoccurring thing, hot and obedient.
One more super awesome thing from this series that I just have to share is this panel right here. This comes in the middle of the big climactic final battle, and those of you with the sharper eyes may have noticed that it is an exact callback to this incredibly famous image, the iconic cover to 1963's X-Men #1.
You have X-Men #1?
I'm going to an island that I'm gonna buy with my X-Men #1. So of course this story is happening on the actual 50th anniversary year of the X-Men. So it's this amazing moment where the battle comes to exactly parallel their very first appearance in the place where it happened. And in the place of Magneto, we have crazy future representing all of the insanity that's built into the X-Men mythos and becoming your own worst enemy. And it's just super poetic and awesome.
One of the best parts of this entire series is that Iceman Bobby kind of became like a breakout star for me. He's always been in the back, but in the last couple of years, there's been some pretty incredible moments where you start to watch his powers grow, or what his potential is, or even when you look at the Age of Apocalypse stuff that was happening a couple years ago, you could see his potential. But for the first time as a human being growing up and him discovering himself as an X-Man, as opposed to what his powers are capable of, that's where Bobby really shined for me in this series. Especially anytime he's interacting with himself or having different conversations with the future himself, or like a staring contest with the big hulking version of himself. It doesn't really matter. He's learning who he is, and he's learning that he's going to make better choices to become a better person later on. And I think that's something we all wish we could do.
So they set it up that Wolverine and Storm has got this hot and heavy relationship, right? But you know what? I haven't seen anything about it since, except here and there, like little tiny quips. What's going on? Is their relationship purely sexual? Are they having a real relationship? Are they gonna... What's going on? Is possibly Wolverine? Is she possibly Black Panther? Like, I don't know what's going on. I need to know right now.
And how cool was this relationship with Peter and Illyana? We've never got to see the two of them on the same level, both good guys, both relatively sane, not running away from each other. That's like something we've all been waiting for, and that story to be told forever. And 2 soul swords. That was awesome!
Dazzler theories, okay? There was that big scene where she gets murdered by some dragons on her inaugural speech, and what the was that, okay? Like, is that the bad event that happened? Like, is it not? I don't know. Is it possible that perhaps Magic had her powers hijacked, and where somebody brought in all these demons from Limbo to kill her, and that's why Magic, spoiler alert, kills herself later on in the future? I'm not saying it's Dazzler, but it's Dazzler. Dazzler is the key to all of this, okay?
Shogo theories. First of all, he turns out to become one of the breakout characters in this entire series, even though we see him as a baby and as he's grown up. One of the coolest parts of the entire story is when Jubilee and Bling and Armor come up with like this protective ball, kind of like a human hamster ball thing for him, and he has to wear it around his neck. And whenever there's a fight or some problems or trouble, he has to press it, and he gets this little bubble thing around him. It's pretty freaking cute. So my theory is that that kind of plays into his future. Personally, I don't even think Shogo has powers, but I think that he kind of like looks at his mom as the X-Man that she is, and really feels like that he needs to carry that on. So maybe that's like why he finds himself in Sentinel armor, kind of like an Iron Man. It's like his armor, and he kind of runs with it.
Another Shogo theory, and this is my favorite, is perhaps he has picked up powers to talk to machines because earlier in Adjectiveless X-Men, he was infected with a bacteria that could talk to machines, even though it was expelled from him later. Maybe there's some resonance there, and that's why he can still talk to machines.
Or maybe his power is to be super adorable, or he's got some kind of mind control, and that's the reason that we are all obsessed with him, even though 6 months ago we had never heard of him in our lives.
Where the hell is Dupe throughout this whole thing? More Dupe. Dupe would have fixed everything.
So, a few more lingering questions. When was pretending to be in the future, did he kiss his dad?
Oh, no, it's just a hug. It was just a hug.
I don't know, man.
And one of the best parts of this entire series and this incredible story arc was that the last few X-Men story arcs have been really heavy, really full of drama, and have kind of forgotten that X-Men are supposed to be fun. It was actually a lot of entertainment, and even though it was really confusing and you yourself might get confused, at one point the story starts to make fun of itself for being so confusing. In the end, the story's self-awareness is what makes it so enjoyable to read anyways.
So obviously, a really great sign for any comic book story is if you can just sit there and talk about it forever. And as you can tell, we all really, really enjoyed X-Men Battle of the Atom, and I hope that if you check it out, you will too.
So in review, Battle of the Atom was a really fun, exciting X-Men story arc, and I'm really excited to see where they're gonna go in 2014 because there were so many amazing character arcs this year, and the fact is that they're still growing, and that's why I love the X-Men, and that's why I always come back to them, because they're constantly evolving, constantly changing, and I constantly love it. That's it for today. I hope you had as much fun watching it as we had making it. Be sure to check out Amy Dallon's vlogs on Geek and Sundry. She's totally on it. And also be sure to check out Captain Kirk. He's on our Plopcast as well as Twitter with @KirksLikeStuff. So check it out. And don't forget to like this video, subscribe to my channel, and follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
Fun is good.
Fun is good.
good.
Comics can be fun, guys.
What? Fun! We like fun!
Okay. My favorite part is at the very end where the young one's like, I hope I die before I get old. So Quentin, oh my god. Thor, God of Thunder. Here's the scoop. This unconventional narrative is split between past, present, and future, showing Thor's millennia-long battle against the mysterious entity Gorr the God Butcher, who's been busy killing gods all over the universe.